What's going on, people? It's Viking Mindset here with the living legend, Huggy Bear. Y'all might know him as Kevin Ross, aka the Soul Assassin. Um, it's a legend in America, just Muay Thai, period. He's one of the few American Muay Thai fighters that are truly respected. But not only that, that man is a motivational, just been through the ringer like all of us, man, and has come out a better man and still fights his demons. And we're happy to have you here, brother.
Hey, I'm happy to be here, man.
So yeah, man, like you know, basically the first time, like I was telling you before we started recording, is I found out about you in prison. But what really drew me to your life and everything that you've been through is what got you into kickboxing, is what got me into kickboxing in my own way. You know, when I was released from prison, it was like violence, 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 chaos. And it was like I needed to be around that structure. And in that I met good people, and I I had people that counted on me. And what would you say when you were younger and 18, 19, and you're going through battling all your demons and you jumped in, like, kind of like, let me know, man, like, what was that journey like for you, brother?
Shit, crazy. It's crazy. The whole thing's been crazy. I mean, this has been a surreal experience from day one, and that's really never gone away. And you see people. I mean, I don't know how other people feel that are kind of at a high level or in the spotlight or anything like that. But for me, it's just as crazy as if you were suddenly that person tomorrow. You'd be like, this is weird. Like, that's how I feel all the time.
Yeah.
Like, it's weird for me. But getting started, I was 20, 23, pretty much had just been pissing my life away for most of it, drinking, partying, living in Vegas. I was a alcoholic, full-blown alcoholic by the time I was like 18 years old, drinking every day. And I never thought I would live very long.
Yeah.
I had this date in my head that I'd never make it I'd never make it to see the year 2000. I don't know what it was, it might just have been like a thing. And then ironically, right as we were driving to a New Year's party going into 2000, I almost got in this, what would have been a fatal car accident, driving with my buddy over there. And it was just this awakening moment where I thought that should have been where my life ended, like that moment, but it didn't.
Like the crossroads. Like,
yeah,
on this
it's
side.
like, all right,
Yeah,
what are you gonna do with the time you have now? Like I viewed everything from that point forward as extra. This is all extra credit. I'm not supposed to be here anyway. And then all as well through a series of really horrific things that happened, friends dying. One of my best friends passed away. He was born with a heart defect, and he was the only person I'd ever told about this dream I had about wanting to fight. It was this insane thing. Like, if you knew me back then, it would just seem like bananas, that like something I would never do or couldn't do, just because of the way that I was, and so just drowning in that lifestyle. And he expecting him to laugh at me, he was like, well, why don't you do it, man?
Your brother. Yeah.
I was like, I wasn't expecting that. I was like, well,
So used to
I start, yeah, I
Yeah.
start spouting off all these excuses, like, well, I'm like old. I was like 18 at the
Trying
time.
to convince yourself at that point.
I'm already old. I can't afford it. I'm a partying, this and that. And he's like, hey man, if anybody can do it, you can do it. It's like, I think you should. And that really hit me. Like the fact that someone believed in me,
Yeah.
and like it sparked this possibility in my mind, like, well, maybe I can. But again, I was so busy partying and doing all that, I buried it under drinking alcohol and everything else. And every time I would see a fight, that would like reignite inside me, like, fuck man, like you need to do this, you need to do this.
Yeah.
But I was so living in fear and doubt and
And
just
numbing, bro. Numbing that.
yeah.
Dude, I
So
know that all too well, man. Like, I remember you said something about, and I could relate to this because I remember right before I went to prison, I was living every day like no, I wasn't gonna put the gun to my head and pull the bullet, but I was putting
Yeah.
myself in these situations where
Oh yeah.
any second, and then like when I finally got arrested and got the time and was going sent up the road, I was young kid. It was a relief, man. It was like I can start over now. Like I can
Yeah.
find a whole new identity, and that's what I did as far as like with fighting. I went when I came back. I wasn't like, oh shit, or here's what's his name, he grew up in the institution, oh he's doing this, he's selling dope, he's did it. They're like, oh Jeremy's a kickboxer, he's a bad, dude, he's look at him.
Uh,
It was like the same dudes that peaked when I went away are looking up to me now, and it was
yeah.
a good feeling because through that, just through anything, man, and I love that you preach that, like you can be at some of the darkest times, and we all face it, bro. We can all smile
Yeah.
on Instagram and all that, but dude, some of us are dying inside, man,
Yeah.
and someone like you that's one of us, man, that's been through the pain and struggle and gets in that ring, and you when you fight, you don't just see, you just paint your emotions, and not that you're an emotional fighter, but you can
Yeah.
see you fight with your full heart, bro, and it's very
Yeah.
inspiring, man, for real.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. It's as I said, once I kind of turned everything around, and this wasn't until like 3, 4 years after I had this conversation with my buddy. He actually ended up passing away about a year later. And when he did, I I promised myself that I would do this. I was like, I'm gonna go after this. Like he didn't get to live. He didn't get to even fail at a dream, and I'm too scared to try.
Yeah,
For what? You know.
yeah,
So I promised myself that I would do it. Unfortunately, when he did pass away, I got even farther down that road of alcoholism and everything, and
and that.
really just it was bad. It was really bad. Like my whole crew of friends, like we were already on a bad path to begin with, but that sent a lot of us just
Lights
over
that
the
fire,
edge.
dude. My best
Yeah,
friend Sean just died recently, man, and whatever, good dude, whatever shit happens, and it was like instead of taking the time to be like, you know what, I'm gonna do something right. It was just like, let's get drunk like every day, all day for him,
yeah,
for Sean, and it's like, who am I really drinking for now? I'm drinking
right.
for myself at this point.
Yeah. So then about 2 years later, through a series of just more bad events, when I almost died in a car wreck, and then one of my buddies put himself through a windshield, another buddy drunk driving almost killed somebody. And then I finally just had like this awakening, like, what the fuck are you doing? It's been like 3 years and you've pissed away the last 3 years of your life.
Yeah.
And if your friend was still alive, he beat the fuck out of you. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing, man? You're wasting your life. And I just couldn't ignore it anymore. So going into 2003, I made it my New Year's resolution. Like, I'm gonna stop drinking. I'm gonna get in the gym, and that's it. I didn't know where it would go. I didn't know how I was gonna do it, but I just made a choice. I was like, I'm not going to rely on those excuses and that fear anymore, because I know they're all bullshit. That's all they are, is just, it's fear. It's not nothing real. And yeah. And I just, and it's like, once I made that choice in my brain to kind of turn that off, like regardless of fear, regardless of doubt, regardless of weakness, so what? Like, so what, you have that.
Yeah.
That doesn't free you from responsibility. That doesn't give you an out to not live your life. And I just refuse to rely on that anymore. And from that point forward, it really simplified all these decisions that I had to make. It didn't make it any easier, but it did make it easy in the sense that when you simplify it between life and death, like I know that direction is death. Death to me, death to my heart, death to my soul. I want to do everything I can to go in the opposite direction, no matter
Right.
how
You got a
difficult it
rubble
is.
here and a
Yeah,
cliff here,
right, right. So I just kind of put it in that context from that point forward, and it just simplified everything, and it made it a lot easier to do the things I know that I needed to do. It wasn't there was no debate anymore in my mind that we have a lot of times. Like, oh, should I or shouldn't I? It was just like yes or no now.
Yeah,
Not there's nothing in between. Yeah. So, and then from that point forward, I really again did view every day and every moment, and still do to this day, as like, I'm not supposed to be here anyway. It's like, what are you going to do with the time that you have? What are you going to do today to get better, to get closer to that goal? And then I got in the gym and just never looked back.
Yeah, I remember something you said. I don't know, dude. I've watched a lot of your shit, and you said like it's. I think it was at the end of a fight actually. I think you had just won a Lions fight, something like that, and you're like, I just wanted to go to a gym. Then I thought
Yeah.
I'd have a fight, and then here I am now. I'm sure it was what better said than that, but that really
Yeah, I
felt
think that was after my world title with
good.
Tomahawk. And
That was such an emotional moment, and then like I'm
yeah.
like, yo, like I remember like when I was in prison, dude, and I'm in this high custody area. The cops have us gladiator fighting. They're killing inmates. Like I'm thinking I'm never going home, and then
Yeah.
you know I'm like, all right, well when I get home, I'm a train in kickboxing. Everyone around he's like, man, all you gonna do is go home and have a kid, and like they're like sucking shit, whatever. I get in the gym, I train 1 match, 2 match, 3 match, 4 match, and I'm just like, and when I heard you say that, it hit me right in the heart, dude. Like, it's so true. Like, you just have that 1,000-mile journey, man. It's just one step, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. I never even could conceptualize where this could possibly go, especially at the time that I started. This is before like YouTube and all that shit.
Yeah.
So it's
Be
not like I could look at people who had done it's not like I could view people who had done this before and say, yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do what they
in
did.
America,
Like there was no even realm of possibility of where this could go. It's just that I love to do this. I'm
yeah.
gonna keep doing this. I'm gonna get a fight. All right, I had a fight. How can I get better? All right, I'm gonna do that. And then the pathway just started opening up from there. But even then, there was never a point when I looked beyond the next fight, because who knows if that fight's even gonna happen? Who knows if you're gonna die in that fight? Who knows anything? I think that it's good to have a vision of where you want to go, but you still have to do the process. You still have
Adversity,
to
bro.
take it
You need it.
one day at a time. You still have to make the adjustments along the way. So for myself, yeah, I do think it hindered me in a little bit of a way, because I was so fixated on the day that I didn't, like, if I knew how much time I would have in
Yeah.
this sport, I might have changed a few things.
Of
But at the
course.
same time,
That,
there's a lot of things I wouldn't have done if I knew how much time I had, because
yeah, that's
I
why.
did a lot of shit that was crazy.
Yeah. I feel
So
like, go ahead, sorry.
I was just gonna say it's one of those things where, it's like, if I knew now what I knew then, would
Yeah.
I do things differently? And it doesn't mean that I wouldn't even be here right now if I would have done things
Exactly, dude.
different.
That's like
So what
I studied so much ancient culture and then so many different like especially warrior cultures, like from the Spartans, the Vikings, the just even like Attila, the Huns, all of them, they all
yeah,
have the same saying and that so many different words is don't ever tell a man his fate or else it'll
yeah,
never happen. It'll never happen,
right.
dude. Like so because they'll be scared the whole
That
time, like no way, no way. And dude, that's badass, man. Cause you truly you went from just whatever to that dude, man. Like it, it's just, dude, that's awesome, man. It's awesome to
yeah,
see that, man. Like I'm just at a loss for words, man. And I wish more people. And this is coming out of a respect because of who you are and what you believe and how you speak and conduct yourself. Less people are interested in that in this society than someone who's out there being an asshole, living like shit, doing this and that.
yeah,
And it's like it's so good that anytime someone can hear you speak, man, because you're the real one. All this other shit that people see, it's bullshit, bro. And you've never changed. Like obviously you've changed as a person and grew, but you've never like jumped out of who you were or stopped
right.
fighting for this or that. You always stayed Kevin, the soul assassin. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was such an important thing for me. I mean, it just naturally how I am is that way already. But when I was coming up, I really did see that kind of spectrum between the just cocky, arrogant asshole, and then the very humble, quiet, soft-spoken person.
Yeah.
Both can be these badass
Yeah.
fighters. And it was like I never wanted to be that way. I never wanted to kind of, I feel like you kind of cheat yourself by feeling like you need to put on this show.
Yeah.
Like if I do this, then these people are going to like me. People are going to want me to fight. And yeah, of course that's a part of it.
Yeah.
This is an entertainment sport, and that's what people want to be entertained, but at the same time, I feel like if you're doing that only for this, then you shouldn't be doing it. Like if that's the way you are, this is something I used to tell Joe Schilling back in the day. 'Cause I was like, why are you such a dick all the time, dude? And he actually started being like more nice and humble. I'm like, don't do that, man. Like, I'm like, you gotta be who you are. You
Yeah.
know, like don't change who you are. Just don't feel like you need to put on a show. Like
Yeah.
if you don't like this person and you want to talk shit, go ahead. But don't do it because you feel like you're supposed to talk shit.
Yeah. You
Just
gotta be authentic.
this world needs people to be genuine, however they are, and we need that whole spectrum too. It's not a good or a bad thing. You know, it's authenticity is more important than anything. And that's always been really at the forefront of my mind coming up. Again, when I came up, I didn't have anyone really to look up to. So that being that person that you wish you had when you were younger is always stuck with me, and remaining a student of the game and a student of life. And as I said, I've never felt any different than someone that's walking in on their first day. Like I'm just trying to be better too.
Yeah.
I might have done more, but in the infinite spectrum of where you can go to, we're all just beginners.
Yeah. We're all just,
you know, I'm not any different than you. Why? Because I've fought more times, or I've had more time in the game. So what?
Yeah.
That doesn't mean anything. So that's kind of helped me a lot, and to connect with people. And I think that's,
dude. Yeah, it's very rare that people, you know, because when you're always hearing like, I mean, I'm sure you have like good, of course, but like the people outside of your inner circle, Kevin, yeah, it's like all that fake love. Some people don't know how to say, okay, cool, respect, fans, but like some people are like, dude, they get that God complex, and like
I'm sure it's hard not to, you know, especially if you don't really understand it, you know, and it does become this, oh, I am this person. I'm like, they're viewing this like tiny spectrum of your life.
The fucking pain and tears.
Like they don't know shit about you. Of course, it looks great. So
the pictures on Instagram are great.
You start thinking you're that person. I'm like, yeah, you're that person for 15 minutes. That's it.
Yeah.
Like who are you really? So, and never to lose sight of that is it's important, man. And that it's a daily thing too. It doesn't just go away. Just like all this other stuff, you know, it's like I've done all this stuff over the last 20 years, but I could fall right back into where I was today.
Like that, dude. I mean, like, you know, I 100%, bro, prison is horrible. And like, you know, I talk a lot about like why people like shouldn't go, whatever. But the only thing that as a young kid coming in there and being in between this generation of like me, and then kind of like a 90s baby that growing up young, I learned like, or in the system in prison is like, it's the only thing good about it, whatever you go, whether it's fighting, military, prison, you can't just say, fuck you, you can't just be this Billy Badass, because we all live right here. You have to show it. You have to be genuine, whether you just want to read a book and relax, or your card is going to get pulled and there's nowhere to run, there's nowhere to hide, there's no phones, there's no Twitter. It's strictly, what kind of man are you? You know, it's just like warriors or victims, man. And it's like nothing can coexist. And, you know, I've seen, just like you said, I've seen like the dudes that are chilling, reading Harry Potter, minding their business, go and beat the dog crap out of Big Debo. You know what I mean? You just don't know what's inside that person, man. So you know, he's just being himself, and obviously the other guy is just putting on a facade, man. And it's so true. You're one of the real ones, man. You're last of a breed.
Yeah, well, that's a beautiful thing about fighting, I feel, and probably anything that's difficult is it really shows you who people are deep down. Like you can talk all this shit on the outside, on social media and stuff. When you get in there, you can't pretend anymore.
Nope.
You know, that shit's over. If you're a coward, you're going to be exposed. If you're brave, that'll be exposed. You can't pretend. And that's one of the most beautiful things about fighting. Yeah. And even just training, you know, as soon as you are across from somebody, you know everything about them. You know, they don't even have to say a word. You know so much about them that's internal. And I think it's such a great thing. And you connect with people on a different level. You don't have to speak at all. I mean,
There's guys
It's
that
like,
I've
I know you.
You
Yeah.
know how it is, bro. Like we talk all, what's up, bro? As a fan, like it's something that you can't. It's like, dude, you beat the crap out of me, and I beat the crap. We just kept coming forward. It's like there's that chamber of truth, like you said, bro. That ring. I remember my dad passed away, and dude, I was just bad, dude. I got real bad mentally, and I was like, you know what? I need to fight. You know, that's what I need. Mandatory. That's the only way I'll feel better about myself. You know, and I didn't even like going to gym, just train just with local people, just slopping around in the back, just a fool, bro, drinking and shit, just whatever. But anyway, so I get in the ring and dude got me in the clinch. And I remember I pick him up and I slam him, boom. And they're like, what are you doing? And I go, Kevin Ross there, gravity back. And I'm like trying to show the video later on of you. They got like a gravity dump, and they're like, no, bro, you just double figures too. But like, it's so true though, man, because I still talk to that dude because right or wrong, we respect each other's courage as men. You know what I mean? It's,
Yeah.
you know, and it's just good to see, man. I followed you for a long time, man, and just mentally, physically. I mean, you're the truth, brother. Sorry, man. But yeah, dude. I mean, what else, man? Yeah, dude. That's basically it. Just I'll keep in touch with you, man. If any you want to leave anything, a message or anything, brother, just go ahead.
Oh man, as always, I always hope to convey those messages of never giving up and just stripping yourself away from all that external bullshit. Finding out who you really are and what you can really contribute to this world, because we all have something. I don't think there's a person out there that doesn't have something this world needs, but we get so caught up in the bullshit and the things that are promoted in this life that are just empty and meaningless. I think deep down most people, they might not know what they should be doing, but they know what they shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And once you kind of stop doing that, it's like I always tell people to, before you find out what you love to do, find out what you don't like to do. Start stripping that away. Start taking away those things in your life that you know aren't pointing you in the right direction. And simplify it in that regard, and it starts to open up the path a little bit clearer for you. It's like not being able to see the forest when you're in the middle of it. You gotta step back and you start weeding away those things that aren't right, that aren't good for you. And if you can go from there, you can get there. And like anything else, it's a bit by bit, day by day process that really never ends. It doesn't end for me. And I've been doing this for 20 years. Every day I got to get up and be like, all right, I know that I need to be healthy. I know I need to be physical. I need to take care of myself. I need to not drink. I need to not do these things. And that's every day.
Never
That's
straight,
never gonna,
man.
That's never gonna, get that good baseline of where you can start from, and then you can progress from there.
Dude, that's the best, dude. Because when I came home, and I leave it like you said, like I had so much hate in my heart because not because of like that's not how I was when I went. It's just when you're in that environment, you know what I mean. Like that's it. It's how it is, dude. It's like and it consumes you, and getting into the gym and training with all different walks of life that aren't on the criminality behavior. They're just here to get better as people, mind, body, and spirit. It changed me and my perspective of like it brought me back down. And like you said, stripping away that stuff, I was like, that has to go, man. If I'm gonna focus on this and fight and live a productive life and raise my son, I cannot have any energy going towards here, man. And yeah, you're solid as oh shit. I'm gonna drop that.
Yeah, well, like that something that really always hit me is that accountability that we have to have, because all these things are going to happen in our lives, these horrible things, whether it's our fault or not. The only question is, what are you going to do about it? You're either going to let that thing destroy you, or you can use that as fuel to get better. And that's really the only choice you have to make. And even though it's understandable why you would let these things break you down, you still have a choice to make. If somebody's got a gun to your head, you got a choice to make. You got to pull the fucking trigger or don't, but you made that decision. Nobody else did. Nobody else made that decision. The more that we can take accountability in the choices that we have, and recognize that we do have a choice to make, even if it's just our outlook on the situation.
Everything, yeah. I mean, so many guys oh fuck that, I can't get a job, I can't do this. Like, I told myself, listen, I got a long bid to do, but when I get out, or while I'm in here, I messed up. It's on me. I shouldn't have been out there robbing and being an asswipe. You know what I mean, dude? That's on me. I deserve it. But while I'm in here, when else am I gonna have the time to read every day, train every day, 5 times a day, just focus on myself? And that's what I did for years on. Well, it took me a little while to mature, but for years on in. And when I came home, those same dudes, they went right back to doing what they were doing, blaming the system now. Before it was blaming the household. Before it was blaming this girl. Now you have the system you can blame because I can't get a job. But it's like that's BS, bro. Because I had to bust my ass holding mitts for soccer moms for 3 years while I
Yeah.
trained fights. You know what I mean? And I'm still not where I want to be. But it doesn't matter. You keep grinding because, dude, all that, like you said, that time wasted, you can never get back, man.
Yeah, I got this tattoo on my fingers. It says "Live without dead time," and that's what that means. Is no matter what, you have a choice to use the time that you have. So even if you are locked up in prison, you can use that time to be better, or
Yeah.
you can use that time to get negative and blame everybody else for all these things that happen. Even if you're in a full body cast, you can still use your mind to get stronger and to get better. And we always have these moments, is like, we feel like we don't have time, but it's like, how much time are you wasting on shit that doesn't matter? How much time are you using to get closer to that goal? And if you really are honest with yourself and you look at the time you're not using towards that, things become a little bit, you're like, all right, well, I'm wasting this much time on the phone. I'm wasting this much time on the internet. I'm wasting this much time sleeping. I'm wasting this much time thinking about bullshit. Like don't.
Like my wife and I, like, I never thought in a million years when I got out of prison I'd be fighting and training and have a son and be married, talking to Kevin Ross on a podcast. But every little thing, piece by piece. But it's just like a relationship. Like, it's not going to be sunshine and rainbows every single day. You're going to have your bad days and good days. But I've learned to take everything that I've learned from martial arts and fighting, like when I'm getting my ass whooped or if the fight's not going my way and I got to go back to that corner and I got my boys like, and you're just like, you figure a way out or you go through it until the end, you know what I mean? But you fight to the end. And it's just like with my relationship, like it might be horrible today, but we're gonna take the time. We're not gonna sit here on the phone and ignore each other. We're gonna fix this now because tomorrow it might be too late. You know what I mean? There's no such thing as tomorrow, man. And that's how I truly understand exactly what you're saying, brother.
Yeah, well, it's like the process for one thing is the process for everything. It's just work on it, get better, you get worse. You gotta, and it never ends. The work never ends. Even just to maintain a level, you have to work. If you're not working on it, you're declining. And that's with strength, that's with your mentality, that's with your physicality, that's with every aspect of life. There's a choice. You're either getting better or you're getting worse.
Yeah.
That's it. And if you're not working on something, you're going to get worse. That's it. It doesn't just, it's like even with training and everything else, you feel like once you get to a certain point, you're just going to stay there. No, never. Yeah, to a degree, you'll have certain understanding, but there's so much that goes into that and so much you have to put into that on a daily basis just to maintain a level, not even to get better, just to maintain a level.
It's mental pain threshold, everything, dude. It's just
and that's such a perfect analogy for everything in life. You know, you have to work hard. You have to work so hard just to stay where you are.
Just to maintain it. You got
to maintain. But that's also that simplifying what's important. You know, your base, your foundation, your health, your mental health, your physical health. What do I need to do just to maintain this? Like, fuck all that extra bullshit and all these numbers and combos and things like that. Like, yeah, that's great and all, but if you're not maintaining that solid foundation, you got nothing to build on top of. So start from that place in all things, that foundation. Now you can start figuring out what's important, what's not important, where was I wasting my time, what was actually contributing to me getting better, and what was making me get worse.
Yeah. I mean, and it's I mean, you know this better than anybody. 90% of anything that a fighter goes through is outside of that ring.
Oh yeah.
This is the fun part. We're here. Let's do it. Bro.
That's the good time. Yeah.
Lead up, bro. It's like having to be somewhat emotional available when you're literally like, I'm going to war in 2 weeks. And it's like,
Yeah.
you can use that metaphor for life, man. Like,
Oh yeah.
I have to be here. Like, it doesn't matter. I have to handle this right now. This is in my face. I have to take care of this no matter what is down the road. I mean, it's just adversity, man. It's like I always said this, but adversity is like putting weights on the on the squat rack or whatever. It's like the more adversity, the stronger you get. You
Yeah.
know, it just keeps piling on, brother.
Yeah,
But
and you learn how to, you learn the process of it. It doesn't ever get any easier. You know, I use this example of, back in whenever that was, like 10 years ago, when I blew my knee out. After that point, coming back from that, you would think that anything from that point on, any injury would be minor in comparison to what I had to go through with that. But the last year or 2 years before I retired, I broke my thumb. And you would think that's such a minor thing in comparison to blowing my knee out. But
yeah,
I felt those same things of like, fuck, man, like
yeah. I
shit.
mean, that's my hands. You know,
And it was almost, it was in a lot of ways, it was just as devastating because it was such a minor thing, yet I still couldn't fight. I was like, this stupid thumb and it's broken. And especially at that point in my career and after everything that I'd already been through and gone through, I'm like, fuck, man. And I'm like, this is just another opportunity. This is another lesson you got to learn. Like, it never goes away. The learning process never stops. Just because you've got this much strength doesn't mean this little thing over here can't break you just as easily. And that's what I think is important to always be aware of. We're
it's
always expectant of where we have strength. Like, I have this strength to do this, but it's what you're not paying attention to that's going to end up getting you in the end.
It's just it's dude, like literally that you're I remember, dude, they made a documentary when you tore your knee and you were like, everyone's like, Ross, oh, he's done it. And you came back with a vengeance, bro. Like it looked like Jason, you coming back with a vengeance, dude. You were tearing the but like you said, it's like okay, so I conquered that. That doesn't mean when I conquered thumb, hand, his knee, whatever, it doesn't make anything easier. You have to have that
Yeah.
same approach, you know. And dude, that's what makes you the soul assassin, bro. I mean, there's just no way other around it. I appreciate you coming on here, dudes. And
Hey, I appreciate you having me, man. It's a good conversation with you.
yeah, dude, I'm gonna definitely try to get a hold of you again, man, and talk deeper, man. This thing has me
Yeah,
on
anytime.
3 minutes
For
before it
sure.
comes out, brother. Thank you so much, brother.
It's my pleasure, man.
All right, brother.